Hey everyone, it is Sleepy Reader, aka Damien. Cheers. This is Sleepy Vlog number 99. I used to do Sleepy Vlogs all the time. I don't know why I don't anymore. I've gotten lazier. And so lazy, in fact, that I've been meaning to do this for a week, which has delayed certain things. So what I want to do in this video is talk about various charitable things in the community. And since I first got the idea to do this, a new one has popped up. And I wanted to talk about my adventures last weekend, 2 weekends ago, I guess, at the Rose City Comic Con. And nothing big, but I've got kind of a stack of things to show and a few things to tell. And so the big push right now in at least parts of the community, because the comic book community is so disparate that different parts don't know about each other all the time, but is to raise money for Jen, the channel host of Comics Will Break Your Heart. She used to have a fantastic live show she did every week. I think it was every Sunday, was it? Or Saturday? I can't remember, with her friend Mars. And they did a fantastic job of reviewing a ton of comics every week. And it was such a fun show. And if you've noticed it's been missing, it's because Jen has been fighting cancer for a whole year now. And all kinds of financial support that were coming to her, I think, have come to an end. But the cancer has not come to an end. She's still battling it, perhaps going on, to an even tougher battle. So a lot of us want to support her, and so the GoFundMe that was listed at $25,000 is now listed at $50,000 because she needs to keep going. So anybody, I'll have links and stuff down below. Anybody who feels like they can throw a little bit of money towards that GoFundMe, please do so. It'll help her be able to get through this and focus on her battle. You may have seen other videos already by other people doing a much better job than me talking about how great she is. But she's a very genuine person, and she herself is not the type to go asking for money, so other people are doing it for her because we know she needs it. And I have put my wallet where my mouth is already. But there's other great charities that I want to mention. It's just one aspect of how cool the comic book community, despite it being like a giant octopus, has become. I think it's the 3rd or 4th year of Comics Curing Cancer, which I think has been a fantastic fundraiser every year. The people doing it, the way the community comes together for Comics Curing Cancer, which is money donated directly to the American Cancer Association, even though you're bidding on a comic book or a piece of original art, or you can just donate money. And so that is happening October 4th through the 6th. Donations to Comics Curing Cancer are due by the 23rd. And I have some comics, which I'll show you in a minute, that I want to donate to Comics Curing Cancer because I put off doing this video for a week. I put off mailing it to them for a week, but luckily I'll still be able to make that deadline. So you'll be able to get to see what comics of mine will be auctioned off. It's on a bunch of different channels. I'll link, I think there's a link tree or something like that. I'll link down below to that so you can keep track of the Comics Curing Cancer event. And hopefully you already subscribe to the channels that are doing it. And if not, this is your opportunity. And then there's a different angle on giving in the community, which comes from Joe, the Anachronic Comics host. And Joe has memberships for his channels, and I don't normally do memberships. I occasionally do Patreon for certain people, but I am doing Joe's membership gladly because everything he raises from that, he gives to the St. Jude's Children's Hospital, which I think is a hospital for children with cancer. So we're back to cancer again. And I didn't mean to smile when I said cancer, but just that's a big thing. Anyway, and there's another charity of his that I now forgotten that he's also including there. And so sales of his t-shirts, any other sort of things that he fundraises, he gives 100% to the to those charities. So I think he really paid for the t-shirt, and then he gave the money I paid for the t-shirt to the charity. So that's kind of a cool way to, like, as a group, the fans of Joe's to give to a charity every month. I forget what the membership is, $3 or $5. And I think if any gift you give to Joe, I think goes to those charities, although I'd have to double check that. And finally, there's another charity called Heroes for Heroes, which is the fundraiser is being done by Bronze Age Nerd and Bigby McFly, the comic guy, Chris and Brian. They're a great team. They do a lot together. And Heroes for Heroes is a veterans group that is helping veterans, I think, with psychological issues that come from having been a veteran in a war. So that's a great charity, and I just don't know all the details. I know that they are gathering together items for an auction also, but I'm not sure when the auction is. And so anyway, I need to gather more material about that, but if you subscribe or follow them on Instagram to Bronze Age Nerd and Big McFly, that information will be coming down the pike. And I think they've done that for a couple of years, and they're slowly growing that event. Hopefully it doesn't coincide too closely with Comics Curing Cancer. But in any case, it's a good charity, and I'll be giving to all of these. So let me show you what I'm about to. Just as soon as I'm done shooting this video, I'm going to run over to the Postal Annex and send off these comics to Comics Curing Cancer. So I tried to pick stuff that I thought would be popular. I don't have a lot of super valuable comics, but stuff that I had that would be of some value to members of the community and an easy thing to auction off. So I've got the 4 issues of the fantastic, groundbreaking Frank Miller, Chris Claremont team up on the first volume of Wolverine. Probably most of you have read it, but if you haven't, dig it up some way. It's a fun thing to collect. So I thought I have this. I could always recollect it, I suppose. I have it in 2 hardbacks also, at least. So I think I might have it in an omnibus also. So I thought I could let that go. Now, a little more painful to let go. All of these are a little painful to let go, but that's what charity's about, right? Letting go a little bit. So I've got some Amazing Spider-Man. Here is 98. I always love this Gil Kane, probably inked by John Romita cover. And then we've got the landmark 100th issue with that fantastic cover. And then I thought maybe people might be interested in the first appearance of Spider-Man's black costume. So I'm sending them Secret Wars number 8. And kind of I don't know which one of these 2 is I think the first appearance of several characters. I can't remember which characters. But anyway, 2 Steve Ditko issues of Spider-Man. This is number 31. Fun when Marvel was calling themselves Pop Art Productions. I actually think that's great. I like the idea of Pop Art Productions. And number 32. They've already dropped the Pop Art Productions there. So these are all in Mylar, nice and shiny. Oh, look, it's fading into the back. So my Apple computer here just added new backgrounds onto videos. So this is behind me. We're actually in my dining room, but this is a photo I took of a place called Rocky Butte here in Portland, which has kind of a cool view. There you go. Okay, so that is the utterly golden side of our community here on YouTube. I did get to meet up very briefly with Chris, the comic book Bronze Age comic book nerd, and I missed seeing Bigby, although he was there, and I really wanted to see him, and I really wanted to hang out with both those guys more, take them out for a beer or something. But kind of the location of the con is not within walking distance of very many fun places to hang out, unfortunately. You know, there's a Denny's, I guess. That's probably about the best of it. But I would have liked to hang out with those guys. But I hung out quite a lot with Lorenzo from, I always get confused on Lorenzo's channel name because he had a different one before. Lorenzo from Indie Comics and Reviews, and with John Stout, who's just a fabulous Blue Wrench. He should win a Blue Wrench award. John Stout, great friend locally here in Portland, and John's lifetime friend, Bob. I don't know Bob's last name. We'll call him Bob Stout because it wasn't Bullseye Bob. So the four of us hung out quite a bit in the beer garden and elsewhere at the con. And we went to one of John's favorite bars called Calamity J's, which has really good food. So that was great. I got to spend a lot of time with Lorenzo, which I really liked. And then there were some very good panels. We saw a Jack Kirby tribute panel that was really good. I'm not even going to remember all the panels. I think I went to 4 or 5 of them. And they were all really good, which is unusual. And there was one, a Dark Horse panel that was focused on creator-owned comics. And that had lots of great people. Brian Michael Bendis was in a lot of these panels. I'm trying to remember who else was there at the moment. And then a distillery panel about creator-owned comics. And at the distillery panel, they had one member of the panel drawing while the rest were talking. So we got a drawing from Mirka and Dolfo and a drawing from Chip Zdarsky up on the big screen while they were talking. That was a lot of fun. What else? There was a whole panel devoted to Patton Oswalt's, I always confuse him with the Penguin, with Patton Oswalt's comic series called Minor Threats at Dark Horse, which is expanding into a Minor Threats universe. So they had people like, was Chip Zdarsky at that one too? I don't think so. Matt Fraction and Brian Michael Bendis and David Brothers. No, David Brother. I don't know. There was a lot of crossover between these panels. Anyway, people who are writing stories within the Minor Threats universe. The funny thing was, and I think they get excited and they all want to support each other, but also it was Patton Oswalt. So they were blowing so much smoke up Patton Oswalt's butt about how brilliant Minor Threats was that I ran home that night and read the first 2 issues of Minor Threats on Hoopla. And it was decent. I liked it. I thought it was very good, but I don't think it was the groundbreaking genius idea that no one's ever had before kind of comic that they were talking about. And I foolishly believed them. But I've gone on, I read the first issue now of Barfly, which is also part of it. And that was a lot of fun with art from the guy who does 9 Billion Genies. Ryan, what's his name? Anyway, sorry about that. There was another panel. Anyway, the panels were really good. I took some pictures. Maybe I'll try to have posted some here. None of my pictures came out any good. Lorenzo was really awesome, and he brought gifts both for me and for John Stout. And so I don't know. I can't remember what he gave John anymore. But here's what he gave me. He gave me the first issue of Cage, drawn by Richard Corbin. One of my favorite all-time artists. This is kind of an obscure work he did for Max Comics. I'll just show you a picture or two inside. Yeah, there we go. Some naughty bits. But yeah, very intense. Slightly different style for Richard Corbin, but still very cool. And he got me Spectro, which is one of those one-shots that Aftershock used to do. This is what I'll probably miss most about Aftershock. They seem to have completely disappeared. I think I remember they were having trouble paying artists and stuff. And they also seem to be part of a wave of companies that got started in hopes of selling Hollywood rights. That's my guess for a lot of the stuff they did, although not these one-shots. This one, I think, is a bunch of stories all done by the artist John Doe, or Juan Doe. I'm sorry, Juan Doe. I don't know much about Juan Doe, but I have enjoyed his art. He kind of has disappeared too at the moment. And then the piece de resistance of what my friend Lorenzo gave me was the Complete Crumb Comics Volume 4. And this seems to be in the sweet spot of early Crumb underground work. So I guess the earlier volumes are stuff he did, more in his juvenilia and the like. So this is really cool. It, along with early underground comics that he did, are some of his examples of some of his work he did for a greeting cards company. I forgot which greeting cards company. Come on. Oh well. Anyway, yeah, there's some of the greeting cards. Those must be collectible now if you can find the greeting cards that Robert Crumb did in the early 60s. So that was really great. And then I think which day was it? I think on Sunday, I really dug deep into Artist Alley. And I ended up buying quite a few things by indie creators. Just people out there flogging their material. And a lot of them are kind of science fiction, some superheroes, some other stuff. But let's see. But I heard from Instagram from Sean Riaz, the artist in Trinidad, who used to be very involved with the comics community online, the YouTube comics community. I heard from him that his publisher had a table there. I think he might have even given me the table number. So I did manage to find them. They're called Cosmic Lion. And they had a bunch of creators there. They didn't have Sean's comic yet, which was fine because I'd already pre-ordered it online. But I would have bought another copy right there just to get it immediately. And they apologized for not having his stuff there. But so I bought one of the artists who was there does a comic called Feral Star, and he self-published issue 0, and then Cosmic Lion has picked up and started publishing it with issue 1. So this is kind of a fun, kind of crazy science fiction adventure story done in black and white. The art style kind of appealed to me in a kind of, I don't know, what's the right word? Not outlaw comics, but anyway, some kind of more indie kind of feeling, old school indie feeling comic there. And then another artist there has this comic called Relic Hunter. And I thought the art looked kind of cool and distinctive. So I also got that. As far as I could understand when talking, I had a great conversation with the people at Cosmic Lion, that Cosmic Lion is just a guy who self-published his own comics, and then he started publishing other people's comics too. So that's kind of fun. I don't think I got a comic by the guy who runs Cosmic Lion, though. He said this was their bestseller, and I looked inside another copy, who have got a kind of a holographic card there too. And the art looked really neat in this Space Knight, so I picked that up. And then in the mail, just a few days ago, Sean's comic arrived, Red. I haven't read it yet. I haven't read any of the stuff I got at the con yet, but I will read it, and I'll let you know. This comic by Sean looks beautiful, and it has kind of a, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but kind of a coloring style that's a little different than any other comic I can think of. And I mean that in a good way. But, and I think, did Sean do his own coloring? I think he did. I don't see anything saying otherwise. I don't see a colorist credited, so I think Sean did his own coloring. And Sean also, his style is a nice, clean style, but he is not exactly like any other artist, especially in his choice. Whoa, come on. Maybe this was a bad idea to put this background on. Anyway, I'm really enjoying Sean's work here. I flipped through it like about 6 or 7 times now, just enjoying his art. I've known Sean for a long time. If you look back on videos from my first year here on YouTube, 12 years ago, you'll see me and Sean talking live about Batman and things. And it was very tragic when Sean tried to get a tourist visa just to come to the U.S., or maybe some kind of visa to come to the U.S. just so he could go to cons and things, and they turned him down. So that was very upsetting to me. So then nearby, I just was looking around at different people's wares, and I was attracted to the wares at the table for this fellow. Jason McNamara. He's a writer, and he has various comics, some that he self-published, some that have come out from Image. I totally missed The Rattler from Image, but it's drawn by Greg Hinkle, who is an artist that I've really enjoyed a lot. He did that Airboy comic with James Robinson, and I feel like I've read other comics by him. So I was excited about that, and I thought it was really cool. This McNamara fellow has written a lot of comics and self-published a lot, like I said. And anyways, people who really stick with it like that, I appreciate. So I got 2 single issues. This one is also drawn by Hinkle, but it's in color. I'm not sure I'm in love with that. I'll have to read it before I truly judge the color, but I think I kind of like the black and white Hinkle better. And then another McNamara comic called Cicada, which I thought was a cool title. And the art's a little less distinctive than Hinkle, but still looked like pretty good art. So I picked up Cicada. I really like that cover. And then there was a fellow there who was very friendly, and I had a nice little chat with him. And we joked about the name of his publisher, Cex, C-E-X, which actually stands for the Comics Experience, which was an online forum for people working towards becoming professional comic artists. And they recently, at least recently to my knowledge, have occasionally had comics that that they published themselves and were in the shops. Now, I don't know if this one ever made it into the shops. I have only seen a few Cex comics, C-E-X comics, in my shops. So I was glad to just pick up another one. It looked like fun. It looks like a variation on superhero concepts. And he told me that they didn't realize when they made up this logo that if people pronounced it, it would say sex. They were just thinking it's the Comics Experience and shortening it. And another nice thing is his wife was there with him, and she seemed really supportive of what he was doing, and I really liked seeing that. Then I picked up Gods of Brutality, and the writer was there, and I had picked up some of these issues in comic book stores, but never got the complete series, so I thought I'd pick up the trade. And apparently he has a related comic book coming out soon, and he had an ash can there of it, but I didn't buy that. It seemed like a lot of money for just a few pages. So I can't remember now, though, what the title of the comic book related to this Gods of Brutality. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, this was about a guy who goes to hell, a hard rock guy who goes to hell, and then Thor and Hercules help rescue him. They battle their way out of hell together. There's probably a lot more to it, but that's... And then another place I was talking to, at the table, I was talking to the letterer of these comics. So I loved the covers and the title's interesting, God Lieth. So I haven't even opened these up. I should have done that beforehand. Probably, who knows what the art on the inside like. They might have gotten a different artist. Nope, the art on the inside looks really cool too. This seems along the same lines of Gods of Brutality or something, some kind of wild out there fantasy metal seeming like story. So we'll see on that. And with those two, I got this free print. They just had a pile of prints that you could choose from. And I don't know anything behind the story behind that print. And then another guy I talked to had a series he's been working on called Salt Water. So I bought all 5 issues because bundled they cost less. And I figured I might as well have the story so far. I like the covers. I have glanced at the interior art. It's a little less exciting, but we'll see what the story's like and whether it grabs me. I think I had the impression that the interior art got better as it went along. So that's issue 4. Pretty cool colors. Yeah. So, and it's a science fiction story, I think, about astronauts who get left out in space or something. I don't know. I haven't read it yet. He told me, but now I can't remember so well. So that's interesting. An interesting title for a outer space science fiction type story, Salt Water. So I really should make some time to read all of these. Okay, and then there were this table selling all these different T-shirts about Zombie Cage Fighter, and they only had my favorite one. They didn't have left in my size, but this one was pretty good, and they had it left in my size. And then as I was about to buy it, I saw, there's a trade that goes with it, and if you buy the T-shirt and the trade together, you got a discount. So, and then when I decided to get both, the guy who was signing it told me that he was a retired cage fighter and that most of this is based on his real life. He looked really fit. He looked super fit. So he's retired, but he stayed in shape. And he said that he just kind of added zombies into some of his life experiences, and he thought about how you would fight a zombie in a cage fight, because there's certain things that wouldn't work against a zombie that would work against a normal human being. So we'll see. I don't know how much of that was hyperbolic about it being based on his real life, but that was an intriguing angle. There was also, I got this free cheap little bag from Voodoo Ranger, which was the beer they were selling for $10 a glass at the $10 a pint at the beer garden. The beer was pretty good, I guess, but I only drank one because of it being $10. And there were free posters from Oni. So I got this Cruel Universe poster. Whoops, this isn't going to be very visible. And it's oh shoot. There we go. That's nice. So yeah, where my wife isn't going to, whoa. Let's see, can I turn off in the middle? Turn this off. There we go. It'll be interesting to see how the recording ends up. But there's the Cruel Universe poster. And so on the other side, it's just shows some of the variant covers too, I think. I enjoyed Cruel Universe, especially issue 1. Not such a fan of the other one. What was it called? Something from the Abyss, the more straightforward horror comic. So, but there's still a little more. I am kind of a fan from my days of reading Archie comics with my daughter when she was younger. Became a fan of Dan Parent's work. And Dan Parent was there, and I was chatting with him, and then I noticed this giant stack of sketches. And he was, I'm not going to say the price. He was selling them a little higher than I think sketches should go for, but I'm such a fan of his that I decided to open up my wallet and buy 3 of them. Because I'm also a huge fan of preliminary sketches. So these were sketches he made as proposals for covers at Archie, at Valiant Comics, and at Oni for their science fiction EC comic. So the first one here is for Archie, your pal Archie number 2. And this cover proposal was accepted, he told me. And I looked it up and I found the cover. And in the final version, this part is missing. And I thought that threw off the whole composition. And I like the sketch much better than the cover. Maybe I'll be able to put up the sketch on some side here. I mean, the final cover. Now, this one he told me was for the Oni EC book, and it looks sci-fi, so I assume it's for the whatchamacallit universe. What is it? I'm already forgetting the name. Anyway, for this Oni comic, but I don't know. But this cover wasn't accepted, but some other cover by him was accepted. But I looked online to find some variant cover by Dan Parent for this. So I think whatever cover was accepted hasn't come out yet. That's my guess. But this would have been an amazing cover. I really like this. So there you go. And then these are two proposals for Archer and Armstrong covers. And I think they are bringing Archer and Armstrong back. I could not find online a finished Archer and Armstrong cover by Dan Parent, so I assume it hasn't come out yet either. But neither of these made the cut. So there was another sketch, I don't know where it is, that the editor at Oni gave the green light to. So that's interesting. And it's interesting to see Dan Parent's now doing so many covers, and he kind of says he wants to get back to doing more interiors. But I think he's now kind of a well-known name, and so people want to have a Dan Parent cover as a variant cover on a lot of different books. So he said doing covers is a lot easier, but I think he misses the storytelling. And I really had a nice conversation with him. He seems like a really nice guy. And down to earth, not at all phony or anything. So that's it. Don't forget, Comics Curing Cancer coming up. Take a look at Jen's GoFundMe page. Consider becoming a member to Anachronic Comics. None of these things you have to do. Everybody's in a different position in life, and it makes different choices of what they want to do with the money if they have money. And the Heroes for Heroes. Hopefully I'll find the link for that. So we'll talk to you again soon. Probably comic book thoughts coming up next. And I would like to, this is me talking to me. I would like to do these sleepy vlogs more often, where I mix in a bunch of different subjects. This one was pretty planned out. I used to have a lot of fun just having a bunch of different subjects in my head and rambling and seeing where I went. I don't know if people would still be interested in that, but talk to you all later. Bye-bye.